Hello, this is Yayoi Komiyama from Brain to Belly, and welcome to the Spanglish World Networks on Zingo TV, channel 250 and 251. Please remember to download both the Zingo TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. And while you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, also on all smart TVs 2016 and forward. So today I have welcoming back my guest, Heidi Steenrod, who was here before, and I'm happy to have her. And it's been a struggle to find a time when we could both do it together. So I'm so happy she's here today. And Heidi is a functional nutrition specialist, and she is also a functional blood work specialist. So let's find out what that's all about. And I think she has a few new projects coming up. So let's find out a little bit about that. And I think now is the great time to find out a little bit more about how food is going to affect your body, because we're going into eating season here in the US. So welcome, Heidi.
Hi, Yayoi. Thank you so much for having me here today on your show. I am so excited to be here again, and I'm glad that we could connect and have this opportunity to be together. So thank you so very much.
Thank you. I know it's been a struggle to even find time to even just talk. So I was like, come on the show. That way we could talk. So,
For
yeah,
sure.
thank you. So, I think for our viewers, if you can explain what you do, and also your coaching, a little bit about your coaching as well, that would be great. And some of the projects you're working on right now.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. So, as Yayoi mentioned, I'm a functional nutrition specialist and I support people on their journey with nutrition. And we'll speak a little bit more about that. And then I also work with individuals on blood work analysis. So we can really look inside the body from a chemistry point of view to see what is going on and how we can identify potential issues that can lead to challenges with inflammation. And I am a functional health strategist. And so I utilize the nutrition, blood work, and then neuroencoding to help people go further faster with all aspects of their health, mostly focusing on the inflammation and stress. And we know that stress really impacts our overall health. And there are levels of good stress, and then we call that eustress. And then there's the bad stress, which we call distress. And we can get into more of that as we further on here in our discussion today. And as well, in my background, I've been a registered nurse for 30 years, and I've transitioned into the functional health arena because I have witnessed how conventional health certainly has its place. And I don't want to discount that, because when you have an emergency, you have a trauma experience like a car accident or some broken bone, something that needs immediate attention, we certainly want to have our partners and our technology that can help identify these situations and scenarios that are occurring. When we look at our long-term health, we're seeing a lot of deficits and a lot of challenges there that conventional medicine really, not to discount the situation, but we're seeing a lot of medications being requested or prescribed, not necessarily requested, but prescribed. And then we're seeing individuals with more prescriptions because of the side effects of the original prescription to treat the symptoms. And really the symptoms, we need to kind of look a little bit deeper. And that's where the functional blood work comes in, and also the functional nutrition through the opportunities through the coaching to really look at a very comprehensive experience with the interview, the intake, and then we don't really focus on a specific diagnosis per se, because we don't want to get lost in the labeling. We
Yes.
want to make sure that we have the opportunity to not have any blinders on. And so, someone might come in and say, oh, I have eczema, and I have irritable bowel syndrome, and I have reflux, and I have all these things going on. I get migraine headaches, and gosh, I don't know if I'm depressed or not. And I told my doctor I feel like this, so they gave me this medicine, and now I'm gaining weight, and I just feel miserable, and I think I feel worse than I did when I first started the medication.
Yes.
So, not to belabor those points, but that's where some of the situations where conventional medicine is seemingly failing our individuals, right? Our American society.
Yes.
And then also, it's everything, right? We're exposed to
Yes.
so many toxins in the
Yes.
air that we breathe, the food that we eat,
The
the
water.
water that we drink, the thoughts that we think,
Yes.
the words that we say, and really movement.
Yes.
So, how much are we moving or not moving?
Yes.
So there's a lot to unwrap there.
Yes, that is so true. And I think, well, most of the country right now, I think starting in the beginning of this month, has been in a bit of stressful situation. I know that many people that I personally talk to are very stressed, also with the holidays and also with, well, Thanksgiving and the holidays. And now that they're saying that a lot of the travel will be not suspended, but it would be rough for people traveling right now because of snowstorms happening and all this and that. So I know it's a lot of stress, and stress can cause people to want to eat, which is one of the most common effects of that. And I'm sure you see many cases of people wanting to eat because of stress and that emotional hunger. And also, I wanted to talk a little bit about how stress releases cortisol and how that really affects our body, and it holds on to the extra weight that we have, or it'll hold on to fat because it's one of the primal functions that we've had as human beings from the beginning. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that as well. And I'm sure you see many cases these days of people dealing with stress and eating.
Yeah, and the challenge is that everyone wants a quick fix. And what I'm really seeing a lot, and it's individuals, I don't want to get into the depths of this, but the Ozempic and those types of drugs, the GLP-1s, people are really hoping, wanting that to be a quick fix for them. And it is helping people lose weight.
Yes,
I've seen and heard of some people who have been very happy with the things that they're doing with that. And then yet those medications have their long-term risks and side effects. And, is there really enough information out there that is going to serve us in knowing what is this really doing to our chemistry in our body? What is this doing really at the cellular level? And so there's, challenges there. And certainly being able to understand a little deeper of, why is it that I want to continuously consume food until I feel uncomfortable?
yes,
Where is this shut off?
yes,
Where is the opportunity to really take back control and to understand in ourselves that many times we just don't even have a realization it's our subconscious that's running our
yes,
behaviors, and these behaviors are established from a very young age, by maybe something someone said, or maybe a remark that a parent made or grandparent, and that really just stuck with that person, and then that gave them this BS,
yes.
which is not the bad word, but it is the belief system.
System, yes,
And when we develop those belief systems at an early age, they're reinforced throughout life because we start to look for these instances
yes,
that attribute and make those things true to us because that's what we believe. So we find evidence in our life to continue to believe that. And then that thought requires has us determine a feeling. And then once we have this feeling of lack of self-worth or, poor body image, there's just so much going on out there, especially comparisonitis on social media. And these feelings of inadequacy then enact what we do. And, then what we do provides what we have. So, that is as I think, so I feel, as I feel, so I do, as I do, so I have, which is a huge concept of our neuroencoding. And so we really can help people rewire the BS that's just running around in their head. And there's definite opportunities to do that.
Yes, that's so true. And I know that in neuroencoding, we always say it's what our belief system is. And our brains don't know if it's true or false, what we're telling ourselves. And like you had mentioned, somebody may have said it was just innocently, oh, I don't know, you look a little chunky today, right? I've had people say that to me a lot. And, that as a kid, I mean, you're like heartbroken when you hear that because you feel like that's not supposed to be a good comment. You feel that that's supposed to be a bad comment and that somebody's attacking you. And as a child, you don't know better. So you feel like, oh, I'm not up to par. I'm not up to standards for this person. So I must be doing something wrong. And then all those thoughts start forming. And as a little kid, you don't know what's right or wrong. And, you grow up with that belief system. And like you said, we can change those belief systems. And we just have to be a little conscious and start to become aware of when we're thinking things that aren't really true. So, I think we always tell people, question your belief system occasionally, because you sometimes need to reassess what's going on. And I think that's like even with computers, right? We have to kind of like updates and we have to kind of reassess if it's working or not, or any system really. And I think that's something that we as humans need to do. And I think through neuroencoding and even, shows like this where we can talk about it and people can be aware and people can maybe say, wait a minute, is that a thought that I really had? Or is that something that somebody said that I started to believe at a young age? So.
Yeah, absolutely, Yayoi. And you commented on the cortisol release, and we're heading into the holiday season, and we're bombarded with ads and family traditions and foods that have high fats and high sugars. And sometimes people like to cut corners because of the time consumed. So maybe they utilize highly processed ingredients to save time. And then what happens in the end, So, one of the things that we have the opportunity to be mindful of, and it's really simple. So we can look at just sugar. If we just take a look at sugar, for instance, and we know that sugar temporarily increases the chemicals, the neurotransmitters in our brain. And one of them specifically is the beta endorphin levels. And that leads to improved self-esteem, resilience to stress. And this is why one of the reasons why we crave these quick hits, the dopamine hit with the refined sugar, right? And so we have opportunities to still get the sweet taste, but in a different means, like through something that's not so refined as white sugar. We can utilize coconut sugar in our recipes, and it's a 1-to-1 replacement.
Right.
And even though it still has the same amount of grams of sugar, it provides us with a lower glycemic index. And what that means is that when we consume foods with a glycemic index like 0 to 100, the lower the glycemic index, the better our bodies are able to manage it and release insulin. So you don't get this big surge spike of insulin and then a huge crash. And then you feel like just horrible, right?
Right.
So the opportunity, still getting that sweet taste on your tongue, still enjoying some of your family favorites, traditional recipes, satisfying that sweet tooth, and yet looking at how can I modify this to give it a slightly better,
Mm-hmm.
healthier option. And I mentioned the coconut sugar. Another one is stevia, as
Yes.
long as it's in the raw form,
Yes.
it's not processed with, I've noticed that some brands, I won't mention specifically, add other chemicals like
Yes.
dextrose
Yes.
to the stevia,
Yes.
and then that's a hidden sugar, and that's not good, because you're promoting this low calorie, natural
So,
sweetener, and
right.
yet you're adding chemicals to it. So I'd be mindful to encourage people to really
Read
not
the
just look
label.
at a label or look at an all natural, um,
Labeling. Yeah.
labeling,
Yeah.
advertisement on the products that they're buying, but
Turn
to
it over.
really investigate, put on those lenses and use that magnifying glass.
Yes.
And I think I mentioned this before, one of the really beautiful apps that I have found just so beneficial, and I have no financial interest in this, is the Yuka
Okay.
app,
Yeah.
Yuka.
Yes.
And in my practice at Wanishi Wellness, so Wanishi is a Native American word, that means thankful. And what other better time of year
Yes.
to have, thankfulness is around Thanksgiving for sure.
Yes.
We're, it's top of mind, but
Yes.
really thankful wellness all year, every day, 24/7, because we got one body
Yes.
and we have the opportunity to really, promote that, because the fuel that we put in our bodies, just like if you think about what fuel you put in your car,
Yes.
if you want your car to perform well, you got to use quality fuel. You've got to maintain your oil checks and maintenance and
Yeah.
replace your tires when they start getting worn, or what
Yeah.
happens, right? You're stranded sitting by the side of the road. And if we can sit that and equate that to our human organism,
Yes.
do you want to be sitting at the side of the road in a hospital bed?
Nope. And you don't want, and there is really no triple A for the body that really helps you get there. Maybe it's not even the ambulance because they can't do much. You really have to maintain, you have a responsibility to maintain this organism, which is your body, because like you said, we only get one and you can't trade it in. And I wish we could. I mean, there are lots of science fiction stories where you could trade it in and all that, but we haven't reached that yet in our community or in our society yet. So
Yeah.
we do have to take care of it. And I think it's the little things, like you said. For instance, the coconut sugar. I've been using coconut sugar for close to 10 years now. And I switched to that because I myself started developing rashes on my body. And like we always say, the skin is the biggest organ your body has. And when it's coming out on your skin, it means that it's pretty serious because internally it's having issues. And that's why it's showing up on the skin to say, look, this is a warning sign. Something's happening. You got to take care of this.
Yeah,
And yeah,
toxic overload, right? So
yes,
that's your body's signal telling you, besides the feelings that you're feeling that you might not realize with the inflammation, like your
yeah,
headaches or stomach upset or acid reflux, and a multitude of other things, right? Like your constipation and diarrhea and all
yeah,
of that. But the skin, when you start seeing on your skin, that's your largest organ, as you mentioned, and it's a huge detox, right? So
yes,
when your body is trying to detox itself and get rid of these toxins that are looming, like
yes,
from the things that we eat, mentioned earlier, another opportunity is, what are you actually putting in and on your skin? What
yes,
health and beauty products are you using? What deodorants are you using?
yes,
So there's opportunities there,
yes,
to certainly, and I'm so happy for you that you've been able to understand, your organism, your human body, how it works, and you've taken strong efforts in leading your cause and your opportunity
thank
with
you.
Brain to Belly and the following that you have, supporting individuals on that path as well.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
if I may just, give
Mhm.
another little tip on like something
Yes,
that's really a great opportunity to think about for Thanksgiving or holiday meals is how could you incorporate like blueberries or more berries into your recipes, because especially the blueberries
Yeah.
and strawberries are lower
Mm-hmm.
glycemic foods, and they offer that beta endorphin, which is going to give you that happy boost to those chemicals and really, level power us up. And the other thing I think that we sometimes don't consider is fiber.
Yes.
How much fiber are we
Oh, yes.
consuming?
Mm-hmm.
So another really great brain boosting food is like your dark greens, like kale.
Yes.
I love this kale. What is it called? Kale cranberry quinoa salad.
Oh.
And I utilize that, and I give that to a lot of my clients. And then also when I do speaking engagements, I have it on the back of a takeaway. And so I can
Perfect.
share that with individuals, because pretty much everything that's in that recipe has brain boosting components, from
Yes.
the cranberries and the kale, the quinoa,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good source of protein.
Oh, yeah.
And fiber and your omegas. And so it just really helps to stabilize the body. So it's kind of a good powerhouse.
Yeah.
And portion control, right? So what are you putting on your plate? Maybe I do want to taste grandma's ooey gooey sweet potato casserole that has all of the heavy
Marshmallows
ingredients
and
in it.
whatever.
And so certainly don't, deprive yourself.
Exactly.
But maybe you take a tablespoon of that
Yeah.
and you don't fill half your plate with it. Maybe you
Yes.
fill half your plate with some salad, or, the green beans that are there.
Right.
Your turkey is good protein source as well. The opportunity, if you have control over, if you're the host and you can control what you're serving your guest, is
Yes.
to really understand where that protein sourced, how
Yes.
has it been fed?
Yes.
Because whatever it's been fed, if it's been fed chemicals and
Yeah.
has been grazing on pesticide ridden
Yes.
grain and things of all that, and then the way that the animal is slaughtered
Yes.
too impacts their hormones and emotions, and then we're transitioning and eating all that. I know that might sound a little too much for people and a little
But
woo-woo.
it's
However,
true. It's true.
it's the reality, and
Yeah.
because we're consuming that animal's
Stress.
experience and
Yeah.
life.
And when an animal is, I don't want to go, oh, well, I'll just quickly mention this, but when an animal is slaughtered under stress, so much stress, that its meat is not going to be tender, I'm going to say, because just like humans, when we're in stress mode or when we're in a fearful mode, we scrunch up like this. That means we're releasing all the stress hormones, and our bodies are just are strict are just shrinking or restricting anything. And when we consume meat like that, we're taking in that energy as well, and taking in those stressful hormones as well. So that's just something to think about. I'm just going to put it out there. And it is true that you will taste it. If you actually try to do a taste test, you will taste the difference in that. So just putting it out there, but you don't have to worry about it for now, but just think about it in the back of your head.
Yeah.
And yeah, because like you were saying about fiber is something that's overlooked these days a lot, because a lot of the processed foods that people eat does not contain enough fiber, and natural fiber, to be honest with you. Now, you can get fiber, that's manufactured fiber, but natural fiber is the best way for your body to process things. And when you have, like, getting your fruits and vegetables in, that's like a basic component of health and nutrition. And sadly, most people in the world don't get enough of the 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day.
Right.
And even trying to get that should be like first thing that you might want to do to try to eat healthier. Another thing is that we talk about the plate, and we always say, half should be fruits and vegetables if you can, and to try to get a multitude of colors like the rainbow effect on your plate. And, Thanksgiving, it's when family gets around. So sometimes, yes, there's things that you haven't had in a year, let's say, for example. I used to be I love desserts, and I used to go to Thanksgiving when my former, let's see, well, a relative would always bring in like four different types of pies, and they're all handmade from scratch. And oh my gosh, they were so good. And but my thing was pies. So I was like, okay, what can I forego in the dessert? I mean, in the menu, so that I can have a little sliver of each of the pies. So it would be like, if I knew the stuffing wasn't that great, then I'd skip the stuffing. I don't need breads and rolls if I'm going, and it's really about balancing that. What can you get so that you can enjoy? And also, you're enjoying your family, you're enjoying that community as well. And those are some of the tips that, I have for like during the holidays and how to handle that. And also be mindful, because you are probably going to go back into old habits or old ways of thinking, because you're going to have family that triggers you, which
Yeah.
happens a lot.
Yeah, and some other opportunities too to think about, as we're talking about foods and the holidays and things that we're wanting to help ourselves out and still enjoy our traditional offerings. When we think about, I mentioned a bit about dopamine,
Yes.
and we think about opportunities for, how could I incorporate some things into my meal offering, or maybe what I have for breakfast before I
Definitely.
go to dinner, or the other opportunity is hydration. We can touch on that in a moment. But as far as the dopamine goes, you've got your pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, almonds, avocados, bananas, things of that nature. And anything with the vitamin A and D, they work together to help support the production of dopamine. And that's just a super wonderful opportunity. And we don't need a ton. Like I mentioned, just a tablespoon of something, or maybe you do want to taste Aunt Millie's beautiful pie, and you can have an opportunity to just have a small sliver of that and enjoy the taste or the sweetness on your tongue, and that can stimulate that opiate release, which
Yes.
is really what is happening when we have that increase in dopamine, or that dopamine hit.
Yes.
And serotonin, that's another neurotransmitter
Yes.
that we talk a lot about in our neuro health and understanding of what we're doing. And that one is another and very important feel good chemical.
Yes.
And it's responsible for quieting the brain and creating a peaceful and relaxed
Yes.
state. And many people likely have heard, turkey and tryptophan, and you get the tryptophan, it makes you feel kind of sleepy after the meal.
Yes.
And so tryptophan actually is the precursor, or the beginning stages of development to serotonin. And so that is an opportunity, having the tryptophan to help with blood sugar balance as
Yes.
well, because the tryptophan can help support some of the blood sugar regulation, from what I understand. And then, eating the magnesium rich foods, that also
Yes.
helps to convert the tryptophan into the
Yes.
serotonin. So, things like your nuts, walnuts, and
Yes.
the greens I had already mentioned, your
Mm-hmm.
dark leafy greens,
Yes.
kale,
Yes.
um, chia seeds, things
Yes.
of that nature. And so we can improve and increase our serotonin. So, if you think about it, you go into the holidays and you're like maybe someone who's really concerned about eating or consuming too many calories.
Right.
There's an opportunity to just enjoy, not overconsume. You
Yes.
mentioned the balanced plate,
Yes.
loading up more on the greens and some good protein, high quality protein, and then leaving yourself a little bit of room to enjoy some of the not so wonderful.
Right.
They're wonderful in taste.
Yes.
However, they're not wonderful in our bodies.
Exactly.
And, something else that I think is an opportunity that I work with individuals on as well is when you detox your body, and there's certain supplements. So you don't want to just go and grab a supplement off the shelf at Walmart or Walgreens or wherever, grocery store, supermarket. Don't mean to name drop anybody, no negativity there. Just that it's in the commercial space.
Yes.
A lot of supplements, many of them actually, well, we can use this in the all supplements are not FDA regulated.
Yes.
So the important part is to work with someone who has a relationship, who knows the components of the supplements.
Exactly.
And I work with a specific company that I help my clients with that really helps to support and regulate their body systems from a cellular level. And the ingredients in the supplements are all natural and have been heavily studied in combination, because it's not just sometimes one thing, it's what we put together.
Yes.
And when we build, together, we build stronger bonds, and it allows our bodies more bioavailability to utilize the components to build that cellular health and cellular structure.
Yes.
And one of the things is like a binder. So if you do go out and you have something that you wouldn't typically want to have in your body, binders can support. They shouldn't be like a stopgap, but they can support in attaching to some of the negative toxic load in your body that's been placed in your digestive system, and eliminate from your body through your elimination pathways. So that's another just little tip, I guess you could say, maybe a pro tip that can help.
Definitely. And it is important to get good supplements, good quality supplements, because sometimes you're just wasting your money sometimes when you're buying things that aren't up to par, let's say. And so, it's always the buyer beware. And I always say, read labels, do your research. And if you can't do your research, at least talk to a professional that knows what they're talking about, because that's going to make a big difference. And because sometimes, the label may say something, but it may not be giving you what you need. And because even magnesium tablets, you need to make sure that you're getting the right kind of magnesium tablets, because they're processed in different ways. And that could, if it's not processed in the right way, it's not really going to be helping you.
Yeah, for sure. Magnesium is a huge component for, a multitude of reactions in our body, from, nerve transmissions, muscle contraction, cognitively, ability to rest and sleep. So I mentioned, talking about the hydration earlier. So some of the opportunities that we think about is, before you go to dinner, or before you're even eating dinner regularly, just hydrate yourself, even just a half an hour before. You don't want to hydrate just before you eat, because then that can cause some issues with your digestive acids in your stomach. And so you don't want to dilute those, because then your body's wanting to continuously produce them, and then you get into an overproduced state. And then that can cause upset in your stomach and not allow you to absorb your nutrients properly. But, a half hour to an hour before, drink 8 to 16 ounces of water while you're eating your meal. If you have to take a sip of something, to wash it down, but you don't want to be taking big gulps or drinking 8, 16, 20 ounces of fluid with your meal, because that's impacting your digestion for sure. And another opportunity is to really, we talk about thankfulness, and I like to think of let's allow thanks and giving to be more than just a season. And an opportunity to do that is to really offer being mindful prior to eating your meal. And, depending on your belief system, but, you have to do what feels right to you. For me, what I like to do, what I've found, is taking the moment to just take in a deep breath, be centered, offer appreciation and gratitude for the food that I've been provided, and thinking about how that has the opportunity and what it's going to do to nourish my body. So I offer a prayer over my food, and giving your mind the opportunity to settle and to be prepared actually is the beginning of our digestive system that prepares our body and our digestive enzymes. Our saliva will start to be produced, and we know that our digestion starts in our mouth. And besides the saliva, it's chewing. How much are we chewing our food? Are we just taking, 2, 3 chomps and then swallowing it down the hatch and letting our stomach think that it's going to take care of the rest of it? Well, many people do. They rush through their food and they can't, I got so much to do, or they just don't even realize it's just a habit that they've created. And, chewing your food 30 chews before you swallow it is really what's recommended. So that you can liquefy what you're putting into your digestive system, because when you don't, your chewing is a mechanical process. And once it leaves your mouth, there is no more mechanical digestion. It's all relying on chemical breakdown, and then your body can't process it as functionally as it needs to. And then you're depriving your body of the wonderful nutrients that you've just probably provided it, especially if you're someone who's very conscientious about eating whole foods and organic foods and things of that nature. Well, let's do our due diligence in doing some of the simplistic, basic things that allows our bodies to benefit from those nutrients.
Right.
So,
And it's such an important thing to remember to chew. And I think as children, we were told, chew your food, right? And I remember that. And I think, we as adults, like you said, we get so involved in what we're doing. Like meals are always rushed. Lunch hour, we have to finish our meal, and then we have to take care of these errands, and then we have to get back to our office or whatever. And we forget that we need to concentrate and give your body let it function the way it's supposed to function, because there's a reason we have teeth, and there's a reason that we have that mechanical thing called chewing that we need to do for our digestive systems, like you said. And I think we tend to forget that.
right.
And it's important that we're reminded of that. And thank you for that, because I forgot, you just think that it's something that we know, and we take it for granted. And we forget that, sometimes it's very important to chew carefully, because I think there are people, like, for instance, when you go out to meals with a group of friends, there's always that one person that's such a fast eater. And I'm a very slow eater. So I guess I do chew more than I realize, but yeah, there's always that fast person, and you're like, what happened to the food?
Yeah. And, or, you think about the opportunity to be out with friends or sharing in a meal with other people, is that social experience, and socialization is so important too for our stress reduction and our, ability to just be with others. And when someone's just like shoveling it in, you probably,
Stress.
I know for me, you might even subconsciously feel stressed, like, oh, are they in a hurry? Like, is this valued time between us? They got something next to they got to get to? And they may not say that, but, or even have anything that they need to, but our bodies interpret the gestures and what's going on,
Right.
which is giving the receiver stress too. So you got to manage that as well, right?
Yes.
And
That's
some
so
other
true.
things that I think your audience could be interested in is, what types of spices are you using in your dishes? Like cinnamon is phenomenal for lowering your glycemic load and helping with digestion and mood. And a big one is like turmeric. So turmeric's not just for curry. And turmeric is great. You can put it in a multitude of different things, soups and squash and really pretty much anything. I tend to use it every day in a smoothie, and it doesn't really disrupt the taste or anything, but it's a great anti-inflammatory.
Yes.
And it's also a powerful antioxidant. It helps with the stress. It improves your immune system. It can promote healthy skin, as you mentioned. It helps to improve digestion. It balances your blood sugar as well. So I think turmeric is like one of the, greatest spices that many people may not really be aware of. And then utilizing black pepper with the turmeric actually releases the curcumin, which is the component that actually is the mechanism of action in our bodies that helps to work on the inflammation pathways. And you can even use it in like a tea latte. You can put it in like add it to like a oat milk or almond milk with cinnamon, turmeric, ginger. All of those are wonderful components, and maybe something to sip on if you're someone who really likes a warm beverage in the afternoon and you kind of tend to go to the coffee, and that caffeine increases your stress and it doesn't promote sleep at night. Perhaps you could switch that out with a latte and have like a golden milk, they call it at some establishments. And, again, watch what it's sweetened with. And, you could use your raw honey as long as it's after it's, been prepared. That's kind of one of the last things, or the turmeric or stevia. Can also offer that opportunity for sweetening it up a little bit and gives you the wonderful benefits, and still gives you that satisfaction of, is it the caffeine I need? Is it a warm beverage? What is the habit that I've attached to?
Right. And the satisfaction the emotional satisfaction that you get from that. Yes, that's so true. That's so true. And I mean, those are just simple tips that anyone can just, use. And I mean, of course, if you can use the real ginger root or real turmeric root, that would be better. But you know what? Even the powdered stuff that you can get in supermarkets, that's fine too. Just get the good quality ones.
Organic is my preferred. So really the organic spices, because don't have the pesticides, and the way that they're prepared is at least scrutinized to a standard. There's a standard, and it might not be the best. However, it's better than what we just are traveling the Wild West when we're, don't really know, and we're just going to the supermarket and picking up something, and we don't know where it came from. We don't know who managed it. We don't know, how it was cared for. At least if it's organic and it's USD identified as organic, it has passed some stringent standards. And we just have to do our best in knowing that, we're doing our best. And, I think too, sometimes people say they can't afford the organic foods, or it costs too much to feed the family. I've witnessed someone that I know of through someone who basically feeds their family fast food, 4 to 6 times a week, because they're home from school, getting on to the next activity. There's not enough time.
Right.
And then they say they don't have the resources, financial resources to buy healthy foods. I think possibly, I'm guilty of this too, back in my past life of being in a race and, okay, let's run through the drive-through real quick. And, how has that served us over time? And it's even gotten worse, right? So like, I understand that, some of the fast food chains put chemicals in the oil and the fat that they're frying the French fries in, and it's the same chemical that's in silly putty. And so then you're feeding that to your children, not just once in a blue moon. You're feeding that to your children, that's their vegetable of choice every day or multiple times a week. And then you're wondering why these poor children are developing
illness.
the disease processes that
Right.
they are having. They're having difficulty focusing, they're having skin conditions, they're having digestive upset, they're gaining weight and
Yeah.
feeling miserable. And I mean, that's a whole nother
I
aspect.
know.
That's just a whole nother
It
topic
is. It
of
is.
experience. However, it's just some, maybe a tip to bring some food for thought.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, it's something that, sometimes just preparing, like taking a Sunday. I know it's busy, but maybe with the kids, prepare, things that you can prepare for the week, maybe. Or just some simple things like get the kids involved and have them portion out, like bags of whatever. Or, even preparing foods instead of like, maybe have them help you cut potatoes or in a healthier way, in a non-dangerous way. But to make fries, air fried fries, maybe, things like that. And if you get the kids involved, you have family time together there, and the kids are going to enjoy it. It's going to be something for them to do. I mean, hey, I know kids would just want to go on their tablets or phones or whatever, but sometimes it's important not to be on your phone. And I mean, I have to detox from the phone sometimes too. I'm like, what the, I'll be on it forever. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm sitting at my desk and I'm on my phone and I'm like
Yeah.
watching YouTube and I'm like, what just happened? And then it's like that whole rabbit hole that you go down, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm guilty too. I think we all are in certain aspects of that, and we have to have the ability to stop that. I
yes,
was just thinking as you were talking about engaging children in the kitchen and such, is what would it be like if you take your children to the grocery store and every week you create like a scavenger hunt?
yeah,
So, and you say, these are the three things I need you to find. Let's find da 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 da, or let's pick one thing that we've never eaten before and let's find something that looks really interesting and let's buy one of
yeah,
them and try it and
I,
see
yeah,
what this eggplant is. That something, then look up how you can prepare eggplant,
exactly.
or you could do some kind of I'm trying to think of this one, or maybe a papaya, or
Yeah, I was
some
thinking dragon fruit,
dragon fruit. I was
Yeah,
thinking that I couldn't
yeah.
come up with a dragon. I was like
Okay,
fruit,
okay,
and I knew it
yeah,
had the name before. It was just
yeah.
escaping me.
I mean, I
So
think,
thank you.
yeah, I love dragon fruit, and
Yeah,
but I think for kids that would be something to be that would be fun. And I mean, just finding the dragon fruit itself, I mean, it's a little pricey, but you know what? It's a fun activity that you can do with the kids. They get involved. And who knows, you can all go and find a recipe online together to prepare that dragon fruit in a fun way.
yeah,
Or you could do that even before you go to the supermarket. Say, this is what we're going to look for. And let's, and really make it a game and get involved. And I think those are projects that you can do with the family, which might be helpful,
yeah.
and it's teaching your kids also about healthy eating.
Right.
And that's such an important thing because I know, it's hard. It's hard, I know, because I see kids in their lunch hour. I live in Manhattan, and they are, go out for lunch. They go and buy their own lunch. And some of them are going to the supermarket. Some of them are going to the pizzeria. Some of them going to Chinese food or to the deli. And you see these kids coming back with these things, and you're like, hmm, I wonder. And you see them buying the chips, and you see them buying the Takis, and you're like, okay, it's not that healthy, but you can't tell them no, because if you tell them no, they're just going to do it anyway. So, have them explore, but also have them understand what it's doing to the body is also important. And getting that education and awareness to them is something
Yeah.
important to do. Yeah.
I think also, opportunities is at the younger you can get your children engaged with nutrition and not just
Yeah.
like you need to eat your green beans on your plate because
Oh,
the kids in wherever are starving, or,
right.
you
Right.
know, those kinds of silly things are not going to benefit anyone.
Right.
However, you could say, hey, let's make chia
Hmm.
pudding.
Yeah.
And, what can we add to the chia pudding that's going to make it wonderful, like the
Yeah.
cinnamon and, coconut
Yeah.
milk or almond milk or what have
Yeah.
you. And explore that,
Yeah.
explore what this tastes like and then like, as a young child, you can engage them because they're just such sponges, and
Oh,
you can talk to them about, what this is doing to your brain. Your brain
yeah.
is a superpower, and let's build our superpower. Because I think once you
Yeah.
create those habits as a young child and you
Yes.
don't just go into it as, they only want chicken nuggets and French
Yeah.
fries. And, I think the opportunity is when they're young and you're introducing those different foods and textures
Yes.
and encouraging them to be part of that meal preparation. And I
Yes.
know it is challenging being, a working mom, working full time, 3 kids at
Yes.
3 different schools, and life gets complicated
Yep.
real quick.
Yes.
And we still have an opportunity. You mentioned, maybe doing Sunday meal prep day, or, maybe doing cooking, say your chicken breast, and
Yeah.
then you figure out, 3 or 4 meals, how you can prepare
Right.
that throughout the week. So,
Yeah. And it
um,
might be something just, as a new family tradition. You guys get together on a Sunday, just to do something together and brainstorm together, look through different recipes. And chia seeds and dragon fruit, they're like fun foods that you can play with. And for kids, that would be really fun.
yeah,
And so I think that's great. And I know we can go on and on about so many
yes.
different things. So, Heidi, I know you have a few things coming up. So, could you tell us a little bit about that and where people can reach you if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's awesome. So I am working on, so stay tuned, a cute little workshop, and it's going to be called the Stress Reset. It's a 1-day workshop to reclaim your calm and clarity. And we're going to leave stress behind and step into clarity, energy, and balance. And so that will be coming soon in the next few weeks. I'll be putting something out on my website about that.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to be speaking at a women's conference. It's a half-day conference. It's in Toledo, Ohio, and it's the Toledo Tech Loft, and it's sponsored by Thrive. And you can learn more about it at that website, which is thr-5.com. And it's called It's a Brand You Year.
Oh,
And my presentation will be Fire Up Your Neurons. And
all
we're going to
right.
be looking at opportunities for how you can really control that stress in your life and get further faster in simple actions. Let's make this as simple as possible.
Yes.
How can we kill the monster while it's a baby,
Yes.
so that those negative thoughts do not we suppress them from being automatic. We
Yes.
can quickly acknowledge them. We don't want to just ignore them, but we want to acknowledge and move to a
All
more
right.
resourceful place. And so it's kind of like thinking about your mind on stress,
Yeah.
your body on stress, what's going on,
Right.
and some quick tips to reset that. And I will also be having a giveaway that will be the 3 simple shifts to make stress work for you. So you can find that at my website. Not yet, it's coming soon.
Okay.
And that'll be at www.Wanishi Wellness, which is WANISHI Wellness, traditional
Mhm.
spelling.com. And then I am anticipating doing another Blue Poo challenge. We talked about that last time
Yes.
on the
Yes.
show.
Yes.
And I've had some other individuals interested in that, so we'll be promoting that coming soon as well. And really looking forward to all these wonderful opportunities. And certainly, I'm on LinkedIn, Heidi Steenrod, just as my name is shown below in the caption here. And I also have a Wanishi Wellness business page. If you'd like to follow me there, that would be so awesome. I can be found on Facebook, starting to do a little bit more on Instagram, breaking into that experience a little bit more, LinkedIn, and then of course my website. So Thank you.
Wow, thank you. That's a lot, and that's going to be so much fun to be participating in those things. And wow, that thank you very much for sharing that.
Yeah.
So, wow, and I thank you for mentioning the Blue Poo Challenge again, because I know we did that last time, and I know you got some great response from that. So I think that would be an interesting one to do again. And so please go to Heidi's website and figure that out, or go to her Facebook page and follow her and find out more. So I think this has been really great. I think having you here, especially before Thanksgiving, is perfect because it is about gratitude, and really being thankful for and counting our blessings every day. Because, like we said in the beginning, you only have this one body and we have to take care of it. And
Yes.
it's important. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you and appreciate your time. And thank you. So, viewers, catch Heidi in the different platforms that she's on. And also, this show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming, and visit the YouTube. Oh, and also visit my YouTube channel at B2Belly. And you can also find me in Brain to Belly Coaching. And for Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thank you.
Thank you, Yayoi, so much for having me. I so appreciate you.